I'm angry, but what else is new, I guess? We're in week 1 of Pride Month, the first Pride under Trump's second administration. And a beloved queer native actor, Jonathan Joss, was murdered by his bigoted neighbor. You might remember Jonathan Joss from Parks and Rec. He played Chief Ken Hotate. Jonathan Joss was exceptionally talented and funny. Every time I saw him on screen as Ken, I knew I was going to get a laugh. And he was one of my favorite characters on that show. He was also known for playing John Redcorn on King of the Hill. I never watched it, but when I was researching for this video, it was unsurprising to find that he was beloved on that show too. Jonathan and his husband reported the harassment they received from their neighbors for years to Texas police. And surprise, surprise, they did fucking nothing. Jonathan's husband, Tristan Kern de Gonzalez, posted about the shooting on Facebook. My husband, Jonathan Joss, and I were involved in a shooting while checking the mail at the site of our former home. That home was burned down after over 2 years of threats from people in the area who repeatedly told us they would set it on fire. We reported these threats to law enforcement multiple times, and nothing was done. One thing I haven't seen a lot in the reporting on this was that this home that was burnt down was Jonathan's childhood home. Adding an extra layer of tragedy to this, and probably why he stayed so long despite the violent and aggressive neighbors. Throughout that time, we were harassed regularly by individuals who made it clear they did not accept our relationship. Much of the harassment was openly homophobic. When we returned to the site to check our mail, we discovered the skull of one of our dogs and its harness placed in clear view. This was one of the 3 dogs that died in the fire earlier that year. And it was placed purposefully there to evoke a strong emotional reaction. This caused both of us severe emotional distress. We began yelling and crying in response to the pain of what we saw. While we were doing this, a man approached us. He started yelling violent, homophobic slurs at us. He raised a gun from his lap and fired. Jonathan and I had no weapons. We were not threatening anyone. We were grieving. We were standing side by side. When the man fired, Jonathan pushed me out of the way and he saved my life. Jonathan was murdered by someone who could not stand the sight of 2 men loving each other. I was with him when he passed. I told him how much he was loved. Sorry. Jonathan saved my life. I will carry that forward. I will protect what he built. There are people online, of course, who are saying this is clearly not a hate crime, a violent neighbor, but not a hate crime, including the police. The police don't think that this is a hate crime. Shocker. I'm not sure if it's because they're embarrassed because they could have prevented this. I'm not sure if it's because they just hate gay people. I'm not sure if it's because they're just fucking stupid. It could be any of the above. It must be nice living on the island of Delulu because, bro, what the fuck is it then? Like, there are far too many coincidences for anyone with a functioning fucking brain to say, well, after years of documented homophobic harassment and threats of violence against them because they were gay, it couldn't possibly be a hate crime. Like, please, for the love of fuck, use any amount of brain cells. This is a very high-profile case because Jonathan Joss was a beloved actor. But this happens every fucking day. This is a direct result of your dusty, homophobic uncle being radicalized online. This is why acceptance is the bare fucking minimum. Because your discomfort and your refusal to understand queer and trans people leads to intolerance, which leads to fear and hatred, which leads to violence and death. It is a much quicker pipeline than you'd think, and we are seeing it before our very eyes. That's why we're seeing the removal of queer media in schools. This administration doesn't want people to think that it's normal. Even though queerness and transness has been around for thousands of years, LGBTQ plus people have been around since before Jesus Christ himself. We're seeing the current administration erasing trans and queer history from their government websites. We're seeing the aggressive push of these bills that limit the rights of LGBTQ plus people from conservatives. I haven't seen a single corporation even attempt to post anything for Pride Month. And I'm not saying we should be relying on corporations to be the paragon of morality or justice, not in the slightest, but it's a good litmus test on public perception and the support of LGBTQ plus people. It's not just that the support of LGBTQ plus people is not in or trendy anymore. It's that the violence against us is actively being encouraged. With new bills coming out every single day, limiting the rights and protections of queer people, but specifically trans people, no corp would dare take a side against our dear leader. I talk about this more in my video about anti-trans laws that will either be already posted or posted very soon after this video goes up. So if you're still confused or if something in your head isn't clicking, I would recommend you check that out because I go a lot deeper into how the acceleration of this violence is quicker than you might think. I think that's all I want to say. This is a fucking tragedy. It's disgusting and it could have been prevented. It should have never happened. Jonathan Joss should still be alive. I wanted to come on here really quickly and just say this because I'm so fucking tired of being gaslit into thinking that all of these queer and trans people are just like random targets of violence instead of what it actually is, a targeted attempt to erase us and force us into the shadows. My heart goes out to Jonathan's husband, Tristan, his family, and his loved ones. I'm so sorry.